is it's very hard to accept eyewitnesses. You know, you can get 1,000 people together and say a plane crashed. So I'm saying nowadays, yeah, it's hard to accept eyewitness, to look back and say, oh, you know, they could have been lying. But obviously we're not taking into context, like, they don't have that crap. They don't have photos. You know, you say, give me a photo of Christ rising. Can't really do that. Wasn't really existed at that time. So, you know, I'm just trying to say, you know, it's kind of hard to take into context. So that's why, honestly, people nowadays, it's hard to kind of like look back and be like, you know, oh my God, I can't give you that evidence because it doesn't exist. So yeah, they might have lied. It might be true, whatever. You might actually somewhat one day make a point when you're dead or something. But, you know, I'm just saying, you gotta like take that into context. It's hard to kind of like get this evidence, but you know, eyewitnesses at that point, that's hard evidence. Whereas nowadays, it's not hard evidence. So you kind of, you know, guys just got to take that into kind of context. And yeah, you kind of got to have faith with it. That's what faith is about, is, while it's not so much like a blind faith, you know, that is possible, you know, you just kind of got to have that faith to believe that something kind of existed. I don't always believe it, but I'm just saying to kind of, you got to like think on both ends.
You know, the embarrassing thing is that you and I could be put to death based on eyewitness evidence.
Yeah, we could.
In a court of law in the United States, you and I could be put to death based on eyewitness.
But it's not, I'm just saying that it's not always like, a lot of people nowadays, especially because of shows like, you know, CSI or whatever, they really want hard evidence. They want fingerprints, they want blood, they want all of this. So people are kind of weary on eye evidence. They want more. They're saying, yeah, it is, you know, it could be proof, it could be foolproof, but people always like want more nowadays. It's not, because they know that science can give them more. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Now, I was under the impression that there's a history department here at this fine university.
There it is.
And I was under the impression that you guys have to pay money to take those history courses.
Technically, yes.
I was under the impression, therefore,
yes, if you want to take class, then yeah,
that historical knowledge is a legitimate form of knowledge at Ohio State University. Well, guess what? Historical knowledge is a legitimate form of knowledge at every university campus. Historical knowledge is different from scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge is based on the repeatability of an experiment. If you can do it here in a lab at Ohio State, but you cannot do it at the University of Indiana,
not accepted.
Exactly, not accepted. If you can't do it in London, England, and it's not accepted. But historical knowledge is not based on getting Napoleon back to fight the Battle of Waterloo every September here on this campus. That's not how you verify whether the Battle of Waterloo took place. Instead, you study eyewitness testimony. You learn to distinguish between nonfiction and fiction. You learn to distinguish between different literary styles. You learn to study archaeology. You learn to study manuscript evidence. You learn the dating of manuscripts. And then you put the historical evidence together.